A reading from Jeremiah chapter 18. The Lord told me, "Go to the pottery shop, and when you get there, I will tell you what to say to the people." I went there, saw the potter making clay pots on his pottery wheel, and whenever the clay would not take the shape he wanted, he would change his mind and form it into some other shape. Then the Lord told me to say, "People of Israel, I, the Lord, have power over you, just as a potter has power over clay. If I threaten to uproot and shatter an evil nation, and that nation turns from its evil, I will change my mind. If I promise to make a nation strong, but its people start disobeying me and doing evil, then I will change my mind and not help them at all. So listen to me, people of Judah and Jerusalem. I have decided to strike you with disaster, and I won't change my mind unless you stop sinning and start living right. But I know you won't listen. You might as well answer, 'We don't care what you say. We have made plans to sin, and we're going to be stubborn and do what we want.'" The word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. September the 11th, 2001, a Tuesday morning. At 8:46 a.m., American Airlines Flight number 11 is intentionally flown into the North Tower of the World Trade Center. 17 minutes later at 9:03, United Flight 175 crashes into the South Tower. An attack on the economic center of American power. 34 minutes later, at 9:37, a third flight smashes into the southwest face of the Pentagon. An attack on the military center of American power. Another 26 minutes pass, and at 10:03, passengers on Flight 93 overpower their hijackers. The fourth flight plunges into south-central Pennsylvania farmland. The intended target was most likely the White House or our nation's capital, an attack on the political center of American power. In only 1 hour and 17 minutes, the 9/11 era was born. And here are some statistics of what was born that day. The immediate impact and the freedom of deaths: the World Trade Center, 2,823. In Pennsylvania, there were 45 deaths. The Pentagon, 189 deaths, representing citizens of 115 nations. And a new term entered into our civilian language, collateral damage. We in the military had often used that term in our planning and assessment of operations, but now it became part of our national vocabulary. Because of the number of single parents who were killed on that day, we had 1,300 new orphans. In the immediate period following the attack, there were 91 suicides by family and loved ones. It took only 26 days for the bombing to begin in Afghanistan. In the following 6 months, approximately 22,000 bombs were delivered to Afghanistan. The longer 10-range impact is U.S. military deaths in Afghanistan, 1,645, U.S. military deaths in Iraq, 4,474, and the cost to our national economy, $5.1 trillion. Across this country, two questions rang out. Why do they hate us so much? And where was God in this? Let's look at those questions. Question one, why do they hate us so much? Well, part of the answer to this question lies within the question itself. We humans tend to look at our world and we begin identifying and sorting groups out as groups of them and groups of us. When we look around the world, we are inclined not to see or not to feel a sense of our common humanity. So instead of an integrated world, we often see a world of differences, a world of them and a world of us. So in asking why are we hated so much as to be attacked, that question also implies that there were other options available, that hatred was among a range of choices available to them. But it also means those same choices, including the choice to hate, is available to us. The more we come to see others as them, all the while seeing ourselves as us, a degree of alienation and separation spreads across humanity. And in a divided world, suspicion and hatred can easily become the norm, a norm that can lead to attacks. So the answer to our question, why do they hate us so much, is this. It is in our very asking of the question that we concede that separation and distinction, groups called them and us, have become the sad, if normal, state of our human relationships. Question 2, where was God in all this? The question of God's whereabouts carries within it the indictment that God was somehow absent, that God just apparently chose not to be around on 9/11. We want to believe that if God had been present, 9/11 would never have happened. Oh, yeah, we may live in a world divided by separation and alienation, but we know that God would stop them from doing that to us. I don't think so. You see, God did not create groups of them and groups of us. Us are the ones who created that false distinction. Us is the problem. And if us has got a problem, the problem is not with God, the problem is with us. Rather than accusing God of not showing up, I'm more inclined to see God in the image of Jeremiah's illustration. I can picture God at a potter's wheel, still working, God reworking, reshaping, reforming, remolding the clay that is us, that is all of us. Yet, like clay, we can sometimes be too hard and too dry and too difficult to work with. And like poor clay, we resist God's shaping and working and forming. Or to the other extreme, we can be too soft. We can be too wet. We become like clay that doesn't hold the shape or the form that was intended by the hands of the potter. This Jeremiah text gives us a picture of God as a potter at the wheel, a potter holding out hope for his creation, hope that one day, we, not they and us, but we might indeed become that which the potter God intended. And that will be a great day. Amen.